Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you who have joined in from different parts of the world. In case you need to reach out to us for any reason, be they technical or otherwise, Mansi and Shilpa from our team are out here to actually, to support you. And I think they will put up their coordinates on the chat right now. Yeah. So these are just a few housekeeping announcements just to make sure that the session runs smoothly, because our dignitaries are here, our wonderful sharers today are here, and we don't want to hold them. So are we ready for RISE PECOWorld Summit 2026? If we are ready, say yes, yes, yes in the chat box. Let's have those thumbs up coming in. Wow. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Let's start. So once again, welcome everybody. This is the 13th edition of the RISE PECOWorld Summit. We are in 2026, like I said, in June instead of January. But something which began 12 years ago as a dream which one person, one organization had. What if change makers across the world, wanting to make a difference in every aspect of their lives and centered around the Sustainable Development Goals, what if they got a platform where they could come, share ideas, share resources, and join hands together? What if you could get together once a year and forge those connections and then come back again and see what we have done and then take it further? How would that look? That's how it began 12 years ago. And today we are in a stage where in this particular edition, we're talking about in the next 4 days, 50 plus sessions, 75 partners joining us globally, 150 experts in various fields coming in. And I have no idea how many people are going to be joining in over the next 4 days. And that's what we have come to after 12 years of guiding RISE. And to tell us more about how we are doing this differently and also the genesis of RISE, I would like to invite none other than Karon Shaiva, Chief Impact Officer, Idobro Impact Solutions, Founder Managing Trustee of the RISE Infinity Foundation, and also the convener of the RISE PECOWorld Summit 2026. Just to give you a little idea about Karon Shaiva, I mean, a little idea is a little difficult considering the enormous achievements of this wonderful lady, but let me make an attempt, yeah? So Karon Shaiva is an award-winning social entrepreneur, impact leader, and ecosystem builder with over 25 years of global experience across technology, education, finance, social development, and sustainability. She's the Chief Impact Officer and Managing Director of Idobro Impact Solutions, like I told you, the Managing Trustee of the RISE Infinity Foundation. Karon is also the founder of the PECO, that stands for Partnership, Entrepreneurship, Citizenship, and Ownership Framework, driving sustainable and systemic change. Our COVID-19 initiatives positively impacted over 2 million people and earned recognition from the UN Human Rights Office, Twitter India, and UN Women. A Chevening Fellow at Oxford University and Senior Fellow at the Institute of Social Innovation, USA, she brings expertise in governance, innovation, DEI, ESG, and social impact. And this can go on and on and on. But right now, she's the convener of RISE PECOWorld, a global platform for SDG action and dialogue. Her work has been featured in leading books, media publications, and television series. And guided by a philosophy, think different, act together, she continues to inspire collaborative action for a more inclusive and sustainable world. Karon, the stage is all yours.
Thank you, Naresh. And profiles are always embarrassing, and we try to avoid them at RISE. But thank you very much. Before I welcome everybody over here, I think I do want to, in fact, apologize first, because I know there's been a little bit of a glitch with the, technology. But I must share something with you so that maybe you will understand a little bit of where we are coming from. Exactly 2 months ago, on the 1st of April, I told my team that we are going to do RISE again. And they were in shock. It was also 1st April, remember? So they thought I was fooling with them, honestly, yeah. Because I had told them in January that we probably are not going to do RISE this year and we are going to skip it. Again, another flashback to a flashback, yeah. When we finished with RISE last year, that is 2025, we had made a commitment that we are going to go back to the drawing board. Because after 12 years of doing this, I think there are enough of other people doing something similar. And we wanted to go to the next level. We wanted to say, how can we change our impact from an incremental impact, because that's what happens after a period of time, right? It does not exponentially increase. So if moving away from an incremental change, what do we need to do to really create serious impact? And when we went to the drawing board, to be honest, we found it difficult. We thought, we've done some amazing things in these 12 years. We started as a social experiment in stakeholder engagement. We started as an experiment in bringing collaboration among NGOs who don't tend to work together. We started as an experiment to do work at scale with very little funding or none at all. So how were we now going to change, or what were we going to change, right? And it was a very difficult thing for us to go back and really come back with something that would make it amazing or make it something different. And so we took the decision that if we are not going to come back with something, we're not going to come back at all. And that's exactly what we did. We did not have the RISE Summit. And in November and December, and many of you would have seen my emails, people asked us, what's happening to RISE this year? And we said, we don't know. We really don't know. So flash forward to April 1st, and I tell my team we're going to do it. They were in shock, to say the least, that in 2 months, people take months to put together a day-long event, and we are going to do a 5-day event within these 2 months, right? And of course, simultaneously take care of our projects and what more. So I would just say that, I asked a lot of my team, and they have delivered, right? That's the reason that I can even be talking today. So I would want to give that out over there and say that, yes, if there are any mistakes, then the fault is mine because, I pushed a lot and they delivered. So with that, welcome to the RISE PECOWorld Summit. If we made that commitment that we're going to come back with something great, something amazing, something impactful, then what is that? And I think that is collaboration. We've always been about systems thinking because Idobro as a name itself is the model, right, of systems thinking. But beyond just systems thinking, I think is about making it work. Systems thinking has been around for decades, right? More than 50 years, in fact. And yet, on paper, every single problem you can imagine of the world has been solved already, right? Because we know which are the levers that need to be changed. We know how the system is interlinked. We know who are the actors in the system. We know everything, right? But on paper, how do you make it work in the real world? And that, again, is an accepted thing. Everybody believes that it is going to be collaboration that is going to solve the problems of the world. But it's easier said than done. What do you need to do that you can actually collaborate together? And one of the things that I have realized through 13 years of running the RISE PECOWorld Summit as a collaborative event where every partner is an equal partner is that the very first thing is the willingness to keep your ego aside. Ego and logo aside, isn't it? We all know this piece, but it goes far deeper than just that. There's a lot more that happens that you need to do to make collaboration work. And so we focused all our attention on that. What is it that really is? Where's the gap? We've got WhatsApp groups. We've got online communities. We've got hundreds of events are happening every day, in fact, right? Sometimes I think the hospitality industry is the biggest beneficiary of the development sector, going by the number of events we hold. And yet, after all that talking, we are unable to truly demonstrate collaboration on the ground. We are unable to sustain it if at all it starts becoming into a good pilot. If it scales and we have some excellent examples of collaboration, well, they are islands of excellence. We are unable to replicate it. And that really, at the heart of it all, is what we need. We need structures for collaborations that allows it to be replicated beyond good pilots and islands of excellence. And that has been our attempt. Not at all been easy. It has taken us 17 years of experience, banging our heads against walls, working with coalitions, working with thousands of partners, and finally understanding and getting those insights that allowed us to finally create that tech platform that allow us to do this. I'm not going to take too much time because there's going to be 5 days for us to really learn more and more about it. We've even kept a day, every day, one session that is purely dedicated to exactly this. But I would only request that please be a little patient with us. Please join us in this foundational methodology, not just the technology. That's one part of it. It's the methodology that is going to really make the big difference and help us to build this together. Because your feedback, your testing, your constructive criticism is actually going to push us to make sure we are doing what we are promising to do. So the portal is obviously there. And well, it's a welcome not just to the summit anymore, because that's just one part of or that's just the beginning of the whole summit, is what we are going to experience in the next 5 days, but it's actually going to be the foundation of what we are going to continue to do post these 5 days, right through the year and beyond. And with that, I welcome you to Rise PECOWorld Summit 2026 and the PECOWorld Tech Platform for us to collaborate and change the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Karon. That was a wonderful, wonderful insight into how Rise PECOWorld Summit 2026, the 13th edition, has evolved, and the kind of deep thinking that's gone behind it rather. And I'm sure this new format that we're using this time will actually deepen people's insights, people's collaborations, and actually result in action on the ground, which is long-standing and sustainable. So thank you once again. It's an exciting summit we're all looking forward to. Like Karon said, the Rise Summit this year, actually we had the curtain raiser for this was actually held last week, a physical event, which happened on the 28th of May in St. Paul's and Bandra, on the Swarangini Music Concert and the Women Achievers Awards, the Tejaswani Awards. So this was a curtain raiser. Quite a few people here online today were there for the event. Thank you so much for that. And as you know, Rise, ever since COVID, has been a hybrid event. We have countries across the world participating. They choose to organize physical events. That becomes a part of Rise. For the large part, many of these events that we have, the sessions that we have are online. And that is how this whole Rise Summit has come together. And now, without wasting further time, we are coming into the core of this evening, which is unveiling the RISE values. As you all know, RISE stands for responsible, inclusive, sustainable, ecosystem friendly. And to unveil each of these values, we have some amazing people who all exemplify each of these values. And I will introduce them one after another and invite them to share their thoughts, their experiences, and then unveil the value that's been assigned to them. So we start with the first value for the evening, the R in RISE, responsible. Helen Keller said, "Until the great mass of the people shall be filled with a sense of responsibility for each other's welfare, social justice can never be attained." And today, to unveil our value, we have none other than Mr. Amit Chaudhary, National Officer at United Nations International Organization for Migration, that's UNIOM. Amit Chaudhary is a development and migration professional associated with the International Organization for Migration, bringing extensive international experience across India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Germany, and Australia. With a strong background in humanitarian action, migration governance, and development initiatives, he has worked closely with diverse stakeholders to advance inclusive and sustainable solutions. Amit's work focuses on strengthening institutional systems, community engagement, and cross-sector partnerships to address complex social challenges. His expertise spans program management, policy implementation, capacity building, and international cooperation. Known for his collaborative approach and global perspective, he contributes to initiatives that promote human dignity, resilience, and equitable development. Through his leadership and field experience, Amit continues to support impactful programs that create meaningful change across communities and regions. May I invite Mr. Amit Chaudhary to kindly address all of us and also release the R value. Mr. Amit Chaudhary.
Thank you very much. Extremely sorry that I'm traveling, But then again, I somehow managed to find out some time for all of you. My good wishes to the work you have been doing, and this PECO's World Summit seems to be very encouraging, and I'm sure it is going to bring all those stakeholders whose responsibility is to contribute more in a constructive way in this development world, and also doing something to help the government what they are doing at their level. I'm with you and would be happy to contribute more on your initiative at all level. I'm pleased to release the R value responsible and wish you all the best to your team and your initiative. Have a great time, enjoy, and encourage everyone to join this initiative with you. Thanks a lot for giving me an opportunity to join you.
Thank you, Mr. Chaudhary. May we have the R value release, please? Yeah, may we have the R value release, Yash? Thank you so much. So that was the R value, the responsible value, which says responsibility starts with me. Now it's time for us to move to the I value, the second value, the I value, which is inclusive. Prabal Gurung, the fashion designer, said, "To me, beauty is inclusion. Every size, every color. That's the world I live in." And to release our I value, we have somebody who embodies inclusiveness. Please welcome Neenu Kevlani, disability rights activist. Neenu is a nationally recognized disability rights activist, accessibility consultant, and inclusion advocate with over 2 decades of experience driving systemic change for persons with disabilities. Beginning her career in human resources at KPMG, she combines corporate expertise with grassroots advocacy to champion accessibility and inclusion. As a long-standing leader with ADAPT, she has played a pivotal role in advancing barrier-free infrastructure and successfully led a landmark PIL that resulted in Mumbai introducing accessible BEST buses. Neenu advises organizations on inclusive design and accessibility practices and has conducted DEI workshops for leading institutions including Reliance Industries, Indian Oil Corporation, Bank of Baroda, and Oracle Financial Services Software. A TEDx speaker and distinguished Toastmaster, she is also India's first Miss Wheelchair India. Her achievements include the 19,000 kilometers Beyond Barriers India tour and the late Srimati Sunita Devi Kailashpati Singhania Award. Widely featured in national media, Neenu continues to be a powerful voice for accessibility, dignity, and equal opportunity. I invite Neenu to kindly address all of us and end with releasing the I value. Neenu, all yours.
Thank you so much, Naresh. And thank you, Karan, for inviting me. Thank you, Geeta, all of you for introducing me, connecting me with a beautiful world, very powerful world of Idobro and PECO. So, for most people, entering a building, attending an offline in-person event, shopping for shoes, clothes, or boarding a train is a routine activity. But for many of us who use wheelchairs or mobility aids like walkers, canes, crutches, each of these activities can become a challenge, not because of our disability, but because of the environment that has not been designed with inclusion in mind. So inclusivity is the practice of ensuring that all people, regardless of their background, identity, abilities, or circumstances, are welcomed. They are respected and able to participate fully, where everyone has an equal opportunity to contribute and succeed. Although the Rights of Persons with Disability Act 2016 covers 21 recognized disabilities, I will focus on inclusivity for people with mobility impairments, particularly those who rely on wheelchairs, crutches, canes, walkers, and similar assistive devices. Access. It plays a central role in building an inclusive society. Inclusion is not limited to education and employment. It extends to every aspect of life: professional opportunities, healthcare, wellness, recreation, and social participation. People should have equal access to schools, workplaces, malls, theaters, cafes, healthcare facilities, spas, yoga retreats, Ayurvedic clinics, ATM booths, salons, pubs. Recently, I don't know how many of you saw this, article in Midday where in Andheri there is a pub, a resto bar, Tap. It's named Tap. A person on wheelchair, this girl who wanted to enter the pub she was on wheelchair, was refused entry, and there was a board saying that people with disabilities are not allowed. So that was a very, very big exclusion and discrimination. So there was a whole article doing the rounds on the social media and newspapers. So places like this, vocational training institutes, co-working spaces. Now we have, co-working spaces also a part of our lifestyles. So even those need to be accessible. But unfortunately, many of these spaces remain inaccessible for people like us. Accessibility cannot be achieved merely by installing a ramp at the entrance. Most buildings, architects think that it's over, it begins and ends with ramp. A truly inclusive environment requires a holistic approach to the design of built spaces. This includes accessible washrooms, very important, appropriately designed reception or payment counters, non-skid floorings, elevators, and clear audiovisual signages for people with visual hearing and speech impairments. The absence of these facilities excludes a significant section of society from full participation. Accessible infrastructure benefits not only people like us, but also senior citizens, pregnant women, people with temporary injuries, and many others who may face mobility challenges at different stages of life. Accessibility is therefore not a special provision for a few. It is a fundamental requirement, a right for creating a society where everyone can participate with dignity, independence, and equal opportunity. When I say dignity, and especially it matters a lot for women with disabilities, where we have to take help from various people in our day-to-day life outside our homes to get to a certain place. And trust me, it is not a very easy thing to do that. Access and inclusion extend far beyond ramps and elevators. As my friend Geeta Castellano, who is here with us, she rightly points out that we must also talk about access to adaptive clothing and footwear, accessories. People with disabilities also, like us, deserve clothing that is comfortable, functional, easy to wear independently, and at the same time fashionable and trendy. Unfortunately, the fashion industries, the designers, and many stakeholders in this industry rarely view us as a potential customers. Okay, yes, these days we do have brands which are designing clothes for plus size, sizes for women and men, but we are still very far more from actually having inclusive fashion, clothing or these kind of things available to us. So, like a routine shopping can become an exclusionary experience. For example, when I visit shoe stores, I often struggle first thing to get inside the shoe shop. And once I'm inside, the staff members, they show very least interest in attending to me onto my needs, showing me the right size of the shoes, and they are more interested and more inclined to attending the other able-bodied customers. So that has been very discriminatory and most disappointing experience for me That's a very personal experience, I can say. So this is not merely an accessibility issue. It is a reflection of the attitude, the barrier, then unconscious discrimination on the part of the people, the staff, the hospital industry, the services that people provide. They should be trained to have an open mind and respect even customers like us. So when we discuss inclusion, we can already see examples of good practice in the digital world. For example, as my friend Sunita, who's my core team member, she said, consider online CAPTCHA systems. So if a user struggles to identify the letters or numbers visually, there is often an audio option available. So this simple feature enables us to complete our online transactions independently. So if technology can be designed with different user needs in mind, why should the same principle not be applied to physical spaces and public services? So, accessibility is not about disability. A 10-year-old with a disability and an 80-year-old able bodied person may require same infrastructure features, even though their circumstances are different. Accessible design benefits everyone: people with disabilities, senior citizens, pregnant women, and people recovering from injuries, and family with young children. Nowadays, we see new parents using prams more often to take around their kids, which also require ramps and elevators, just like we would do. So, however, infrastructure alone is not enough. The attitude, awareness, and approach of all the stakeholders must change, which is architects, urban planners, governments, transport, tourism, healthcare system, educational, and the legal system. They all must ensure meaningful representation from the disability sector. So, people with disabilities, like we should be included when there are major projects being planned, there are policies being drafted, so that, we know that we can give solutions and give a holistic approach at the beginning itself. So, a clear example can be the railway system. So, many of you might know that, again, this input was from Sunita, that the long distance outstation trains have well designed accessible coaches now, and they even have accessible washrooms for the passengers with disabilities. But there is often no effective provision for wheelchair users and other mobility impairments to board the trains. As a result, the journey may be accessible once inside the coach, but reaching that coach remains a major challenge even today. So before such multi-crore projects are approved and implemented, a meaningful consultation with disability sector can help ensure that accessibility is achieved comprehensively rather than the partial solution. So a true inclusion, my friends, is achieved when society moves beyond sympathy and embraces participation. A nation cannot call itself progressive if large sections of the population continue to face barriers in day to day life. So, when the voice of marginalized communities are heard, respected, accepted, and included in the decision making, only then we can claim to be building a truly inclusive and progressive country. And before I sign off, I would like, when I spoke about the adaptive clothing on third in the same this 5 day event, uh, I would invite people who have not registered so far that we have a roundtable conference, which our friend Geeta is also part of, and she's, I think, heading this section, and we'll be there again on third. So please do participate. It's more about the fashion, the adaptive clothing. So please do come. And with that, I'm very pleased to release the I value inclusion. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ninu, that your lived experience shone through every word that you spoke. And I think you couldn't have set this whole summit off on a better note. what you shared really is a need of the hour. And thank you for shedding a light on what inclusion and inclusivity really means and what a long journey we have ahead of us. But I'm sure with the collaborative approach that RISE brings to the fore and the kind of people and organizations that come together, we will chip away at this and continue to make an impact. Thank you again, Neenu.
Thank you, Naresh. I would just like to add that I would, urge the Idobro to create a forum, a platform to take all these issues to the government and collaborate and create a strong base for everyone. So I think that will be a great thing to do. Yeah.
So that's exactly what Karon says. That's what the tech platform is all about, and that's where the 13th edition is different because we need the conversations over these 4 days to carry forward and result in action, the kind of which you spoke about right now. So thank you, Neenu. And with that, we move to our third value, the S in RISE, which is sustainable. Howard Zinn once said, "We don't have to engage in grand, heroic actions to participate in change. Small acts, when multiplied by millions of people, can transform the world." To release the third value, the S value, we have none other than Professor Dr. Rajan Welukar. Dr. Rajan Welukar is a distinguished higher education leader, policy advisor, and institution builder with over 36 years of experience in academic leadership, governance, quality assurance, and educational innovation. He currently serves as the Vice Chancellor of Atlas SkillTech University and has held several prestigious leadership positions, including Vice Chancellor of the University of Mumbai, G.H. Resoni University, Yashwantrao Chavan Maharashtra Open University, and Oro University. He's also served as Provost of the Somaya Group of Institutions and held key leadership roles at SNDT Women's University and Sydenham Institute of Management Studies. Dr. Welukar has contributed extensively to national education policy through his work with the National Knowledge Commission, University Grants Commission, that's UGC, NAAC, and various government and academic bodies. Beyond academia, he has held significant public service positions, including Deputy Secretary to the Governor of Maharashtra and Officer on Special Duty in the Higher and Technical Education Department. Recognized for his vision in transforming higher education, Dr. Welukar continues to champion innovation, skill development, and learner-centric educational ecosystems in India and globally. I would like to all of you to welcome Professor Dr. Rajan Welukar with a big round of applause and invite him to address the audience today and release the S value. Dr. Welukar.
Thank you, Mr. Naresh Karmarkar, and thank you so much to Miss Karon Shaiva because she met me maybe 1.5 months back, and then such a wonderful lady doing such a wonderful work. So thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to come on this forum and then talk to all of you. I welcome each one of you to this RISE PECOWorld Summit 2026, which is talking on very, very important values which this society needs the most. Even if you go 10,000 years before or travel back to 10,000 years, these values are needed the most than the earlier 10,000 years. And we are responsible for that. And therefore, I take the responsibility. My generation has to take the responsibility for whatever situation we have created in the world, and therefore we are talking about sustainability. So sustainability is the question future generation will ask us always. That is what we should keep in our mind. So the dignitaries, those who are present here, the participants, those who are present here, just imagine a little girl standing beside her grandfather. And the grandfather pointing out to her that, see, there is a river, and says, when I was your age, this river was so clean that we could drink from it. Fish were plentiful, so many fishes. Birds filled the sky. And the little girl looks at the polluted water before her and asks, if you knew this would happen, why didn't you stop it? And that is a question which these younger people are going to ask us. And they're asking. Even my daughter asks us. Every time when I tell her something, then she will ask me this kind of question, and then she will say, you are responsible. And now you just can't tell us that now young people should take the responsibility. No, you are responsible, and therefore you will have to work with us, whatever age you have. And that is a question. So if you knew forests were disappearing, why didn't you protect them? And that is what is happening. Say there is a Kumbh Mela and 1800 trees are cut. And only some people in Nasik are taking part in asking questions. Why are we not asking those questions? Are we not citizen of this? That is what the question which we should ask ourselves. If you knew that the climate is going to change and that change is accelerating, why didn't you act? If you knew inequality was growing, why did you remain silent? And that is the question which they are going to ask us. And therefore, the challenge before humanity is no longer a lack of knowledge, as Karon has said in her speech. And I must tell you, I like one sentence very much, which I have told first time in year 2000. Knowing what to do is not the problem. Not doing is the problem. And I had added to that, not allowing people to do is another problem. Some people wants to do it, but people are not allowing, the governments are not allowing, the policymakers are not allowing. We want to do it, but they don't want to include us. And that is the problem which we are facing, and we have to find the solutions for that. So it is a lack of collective wisdom, which Naresh also talked about. Partnership. Unless and until we partner together, we are not going to achieve. We say that we know more than any generation before us because of the developments in science, in technology, in all the fields. We know more than the earlier generations. We can measure carbon emissions, predict climate risks, and track biodiversity loss. So the question is not whether we know enough. The question is, will we act on what we know? That acting is missing at its heart. The sustainability means meeting our needs without compromising the ability of future generations to meet theirs. And that is the real question which everyone should ask. So it is merely an environmental concept. It is not. People think that it is just an environmental. No, it is not. It is a moral commitment which everyone will have to give. It asks us a profound question. What kind of ancestors do we want to be? That is a question our generation should ask. And those who are living today, those who are mature, above 18, they should ask this question. Sustainability rests on four pillars. As a mathematician, I love four quadrant and n-dimensional or four-dimensional things. So there are four pillars which we should talk about. The first pillar is planet. Planet is very important. A healthy economy cannot exist on a dying planet. Whatever you do, that economy will not exist if the planet is dying. No financial model can manufacture a river. No technology can fully replace a forest. Nature is not a department of economy. The economy is a department of nature. It is the other way around. So the second pillar is prosperity. Everybody wants to prosper. The future will not reward those who extract most resources, which we have extracted. It will reward those who create the most value with the least waste, which we are doing. I wrote one article on circular economy. It has appeared in today's newspaper, Lokmat, which goes in the entire state of Maharashtra, but it is Marathi. So somewhat I wrote on circular economy, giving an example of a young person who's who's creating a cloth international standard out of the feathers of chicken. Out of 17,000 kilogram of feathers he collect, and tribal women is involved in it, and he created a machine and he is doing that. So the third most important pillar is people. No society can be truly sustainable if millions are denied education, if they are not getting good health care, they are not getting dignity, or there are less opportunities for them. So people is important. And the fourth pillar is culture. Very important. Humanity's future will depend not only on innovation, but also on wisdom. Traditional knowledge we use in, I participated in watershed development from 1995 to almost for 10 years. So we have used the traditional knowledge also. Local practices and community values. They often contain lessons that modern societies are rediscovering today. So friends, this is where universities, I am coming to that, universities, because I am working in the universities, enter the story. Universities can no longer remain spectators, which we see. They must become architects of the future. Across the world, there are some institutions have already begun this transformation in the real sense, not in marketing. In marketing and advertising, you will find that. But in the real sense, few institutions have begun to do something in this aspect. For example, there is one Exeter University in United Kingdom. Their researchers are helping industries to redesign production system so that waste becomes resource rather than a burden. So just the perspective has to change. Another university in Netherlands, uh, they are doing research. The scholars have pioneered true cost accounting, because sometimes we don't consider some things, but you have to consider them also. So they have invented true cost accounting that reveals the hidden environmental and societal cost behind everyday products. Very, very essential. In Edinburgh, sustainability is embedded into learning itself, which now the universities have started embedding into their curriculum. And not teaching sustainability as a different subject. That was a mistake people were doing. So they are also understanding their responsibility towards society and planet. And in India, one such example is Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi, has emerged as a sustainable technologies. They are leader in sustainable technologies, renewable energy solutions, and environmental innovations. So these universities are teaching us an important lesson. Now, what is the lesson they are teaching us? They are not merely studying sustainability, but they are practicing it, and that practice has to be there. They are turning campuses into living laboratories where policy, research, and daily operations are working together. This is precisely what futurists are demanding in sustainability. Say, for example, there is one scientist and futurist, Roger Spitz. He argues that institutions must become anticipatory, agile, and ambidextrous. These are three A's. They must anticipate future challenges, adopt them rapidly, and simultaneously improve the today's solutions while exploring tomorrow's possibilities. Then John Elkington speaks about creating green swans, breakthrough innovations that generate extraordinary positive change for society and planet. So friends, the message is very, very clear. The future does not need degree factories, which we are nowadays talking about. We don't want degree factories. It needs solution factories. So the future does not need graduates trained only to seek employment, but it needs graduates capable of solving humanity's greatest challenge. Climate change, water scarcity, food security, social inequality, technological disruptions. These are not the problems of one department. They belong to every department. The engineer, the economist, the sociologist, the lawyer, the entrepreneur, the teacher, and everyone, the doctors, all will have to work together. Then only we will be able to understand that the world is interconnected and we are living in an interconnected world. And therefore, lastly, my dear friends, university must become a living example what it teaches. Students should learn sustainability not only from textbooks but from energy that powers their classrooms, the food served in their cafeterias, the waste management systems on campuses, and the values practiced by their institutions. Because students learn more from what we do than from what we say. So let us conclude. 100 years from now, few people will remember today's rankings, market valuations, or political debates. Very few people will remember this. But future generations will live with the consequences of the choices we make today. And they will ask, when the evidence was clear, when the warning signs were visible, and when the opportunity to act still existed, what did you do? May our answer be, we acted with wisdom, we acted with courage, we acted with responsibility, and we chose to leave behind not a diminished world, but a better one. Because sustainability is not about saving the earth, it is about ensuring that humanity deserves the earth it has inherited. So, with this, the most important is uh, uh, I must release the value. So, I say I am pleased to release the S value, sustainable, which is very, very important for all of us and the coming generations. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Welukar. That was such an inspiring address. In fact, I think along with the S for sustainability value, sustainable value, actually, we can possibly say you had the S for simplicity as well, because you put across such complex facets in such a simple manner. And I think that's what it is. It boils down to that. Are we willing to do what it takes to leave behind a sustainable world for our future? That is exactly what we're looking for. And with that, we come to the fourth value, the E value, the ecosystem friendly value. Jonas Salk said, eventually we'll realize that if we destroy the ecosystem, we destroy ourselves. And today, to release the fourth value, the E value, we have with us none other than Harish Hande, the CEO of Selco Foundation. Harish Hande is a globally acclaimed social entrepreneur and sustainability energy pioneer, serving as the chief executive of Selco Foundation. With over 30 years of grassroots experience, he has dedicated his career to addressing the energy needs of underserved and marginalized communities through innovative sustainable solutions. An alumnus of the Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur, and holder of a master's and PhD from the University of Massachusetts, Harish has been instrumental in demonstrating how clean energy can drive social and economic development. Under his leadership, Selco has pioneered inclusive energy access models that have transformed livelihoods across rural India. In recognition of his visionary work, he was awarded the prestigious Ramon Magsaysay Award in 2011 for catalyzing development outcomes through sustainable energy. Harish continues to champion ecosystem-based approaches that integrate energy, livelihoods, and climate resilience, inspiring organizations and policymakers worldwide to create equitable and sustainable futures. May I invite Mr. Hande to kindly address the audience and release the eval. Thank you.
Thank you, Nareshji. Thanks, Karon, for inviting me. So I, from a systems lens, which I have to release, but I'll also saying that I like people who get 30 out of 100 because they know very well which their strength is and what their weakness is. So because they know 30 किसमें मिला है, तो focus on 30 है. जो 100 आता है ना, वो बहुत confused होता है कि कहाँ करे, right? So I mean, it's like because the systems thinking, while it's an overblown word, but if you look at the problem that happens is when youngsters go to college or engineering college, the parents who are there behind, the first year mein the parents are asking the professor, isko kya job milne wala hai 4 saal ke baad. So it's a very short-term thinking process ki job kya milne wala 4 years ke baad. You're not interested in 4 years mein padhaya kya jayega. आप सीखोगे क्या 4 साल पे? But what are you going to do other 4 years, right? So the issue for is like, how do you look at from a systems lens? Okay, for everything there is a system, right? For example, if the number of monkeys have increased in Himachal and people are coming with different monkey repellers, but one should realize that the population of leopards have gone down. That has led to the increase in monkey population. You have disturbed the ecosystem in many ways, right? The systems thinking was also today what happens is we are not able to ask the right question or a problem statement. For example, when people say, how are we going to, for technology people, policymakers and everybody, oh, let's do EVs in Mumbai or Bangalore and everything else, right? The question is EV, electric vehicle. I ask people, what is the title of the book? The title of the book is Transportation and EV is chapter 4, part B. The original issue is, do I need to go from A to B, or what is that I need to get from B to A, and design systems to make it happen? For example, in 1990, and systems are going to change regularly. In 1990, when we didn't know what the future was, right, Philu, when India came up with a report saying that 60% of the buildings that will exist in 2035 have not yet been built. It was a 1990 report. And we said out of that, 2 lakh post offices have to be built. The question of the cost of post offices got killed by email. And then FedEx is also having an issue when you have DocuSigns, right? Systems are going to change. Thought process are going to change. How are you going to learn the Lego pieces of a systems thinking? जैसे बोलते हैं कि boss solar water pump डाल दो central Maharashtra विदर्भ में, desert area में, right? The question to do sugarcane. Now the point is, why am I doing what? Water for a dry area in a sugarcane? While the solar might be free, water is not free, by the way. So you are going to waste water. My solar is free, that's okay, but water is not free. So end of the day, you not put up a sustainable system. You should have either questioned why not millets leading with drip irrigation. The thought process should be holistic rather than saying, hey, humne solar powered ek kar diya, right? The problem statement, again, solar water pumps, right? What is the title of the book? The title of the book is irrigation. And solar water pump is chapter 5, part be. So in our academic circles, what happens in typically is that we come up with a solution and try to fit a problem to it, rather than looking at what is the problem statement and then start creating absolute avenues of solutions that are today, that's in 2030, and that's in 2035, right? Because many of the solutions that you think for the poor are great, it's better than what they had before, which is completely wrong, because it could become a typewriter for them in 2 to 3 years. When you think holistically from a systems, who are the two sect of people who really think systems lens? And we use a lot of bombastic English words to define an ecosystem. The poor who think in terms of systems, you actually ask a banana vendor or a tomato vendor in any of the cities and tell them where do they sell when the banana is completely ripe, not ripe, they're completely, good one quality, they will stand in front of colleges or bus stations where people will buy the banana and go. Little bit black, they will actually sell it in front of the juice places where the people will buy to make juices. The third is when it really becomes soggy, they will sell it to the people who actually make banana pulp. So it's a system thinking. They actually know where it is, right? What it is. How do you do that, for example, right? Now, two people, the poor and the politicians. We might criticize the politician for making a statement, or what a stupid statement he made. He knows where it will hit. He knows where it is going to hit, he or she. It's a systems level thinking they have. It's on a long-term basis, right? The poor and the politicians think. We are all project में silos में बढ़ जाते हैं. I'm a mechanical engineer. ये electrical नहीं समझ में आता है. Boss, we all, ये जो degree, overblown degree, all of us who are listening here, if all of us did a PhD on sugarcane, we'll all be experts of sugarcane. A farmer doing 40 years of sugarcane will never be called an expert because uske paas PhD nahi hai. Because see, as we get more educated, we become less useful to society because hamara expertise ho jata, right? Ekdam super. We are really useless on the other part, colleague, right? We're only useful for 2% of the time in many ways, right? So how do you look at from a systems lens for anything that you do? So just to Niruban, PWDs ke baat kiya, so I'll just give a specific example. I came back from Nagaland a couple of days ago, basically saying that, okay, if we had to open an office in Kohima, we are said, okay, let us open an office with the PWD Commissioner of Nagaland, because our goal is, in 5 years, let's stop using the word PWDs. Why should I use the word disability or gender at all? If I tell Miss Karon that you are a woman leader, it's an insult. You are a leader. Right? Why do I say I'm a woman? Why should I say, oh, she's a PWD on a wheelchair? Because our systems have to be created. If I have to create an innovation per se, it has to be inclusive for anyone. And that's why I say we purposely figured it out. Let's create an office along with PWD and showcase in Nagaland, in the terrain. We come up with whether it is a rice mill, whether it's a mobility, whether it's a maternal labor room. How many people know actually we have not designed a proper maternal table for people, women with disabilities to at least deliver a baby? And we're talking of the Swiggies and the Zomatos and the billion. We have not designed a table for delivery, guys. So my question is, we really need to look at our system. So to a lot of the youngsters over here, boss, to learn systems, don't go to take an unreserved from Dhanbad to Calcutta 4 times. Take an unreserved from Delhi to Indore. Take an unreserved from Indore to Bombay, unreserved. And start learning what this country is. Start formulating what the problem statements of today, 2030, 2035 are, and create this country that 2035 solutions, you should do it in 2028, so that Boston Medical College can actually learn from Mizoram that how maternal labor rooms have to be designed, so the poor of America can actually learn from Mizoram and Meghalaya. That's the beauty that we can actually have from a systems lens. How do we get AI? How do we get decentralized energy? And so that's the beauty of having a country like ours, where there are so many problems. That means there are so many opportunities to think in terms of lens system. Mizoram will give you the terrain lens. Central Maharashtra will give you the drought lens. Bombay and Delhi will give you the urban lens. The South Odisha and say Lower Assam and Bodoland will give you the tribal lens. The coastal lens, you have enormous that no other country can actually give you that, and create India as a center of knowledge where Ethiopia, Tanzania, Mali, Indonesia learn from us. How can we develop a country? How can you develop a segment? How we develop a tribal? How do we come up with a solution? Remove the words of gender, PWD, marginalized, LGBT, create an inclusive society that other countries can actually follow. And that's what we should be a leader of. Let China be a leader of products. Let us be a leader of knowledge, of systems thinking. And with that, I'm pleased to release the e-value of ecosystem. Thank you, Karan.
Thank you, Mr. Hande. I think these are some amazing, hard-hitting, but very, very, what can I say, true facts, which we tend to overlook, in a usual bustle to just go about doing what we normally do. And what you said is, can we think of a world that is based on solutions, and solutions not for now, but solutions for the future. And that's amazing. Thank you so much, Mr. Hande. Thank you for releasing the e-value. Thank you to all our four dignitaries, Mr. Chaudhary, Dr. Welukar, Ninu Kevlani, Mr. Hande, for releasing the RISE values. You will have noticed the clips that we were playing every time we release these values. May I ask Yash to kindly play the whole video once from beginning to end, and then I will ask Karon to kindly tell us what is the meaning behind, the significance behind the video. Yeah.
First and foremost, a very, very big thank you to, Amit. Of course, he's not there right now. Actually, Amit was not sure he'd make it, but he said, I will do my best because he had to catch a flight very suddenly that came into play. So we had to kind of adjust a little bit, but he still made it a point. So a big thank you for making that time for us. Of course, Ninu, as Naresh also said, a lived experience. Professor Welukar has always been this profound but simple ways of saying things that stay with you in the story format. And then, of course, Harish with his passion and incredible experience helping us to understand so much deeper. I think all of these really are reflected in what we say the RISE values, which we believe is actually something that I believe, and let me put it really this thing, is that 8 billion people, every single person in this world should be thinking about, because no one can say none of these matter to them. Whatever it is, whoever you might be, right? So whether you are a small child, even the child understands they're part of an ecosystem, that they need to cry to be able to get something done. Even a robber knows that they have to be sustainable and take care of themselves and be responsible. Even a person who we call PWD, okay, and I love the word that Harish said we should not be using such words, right? Even that person can do so much, and we have the proof right here with Ninu, right? The amount that they are able to contribute to society and what they can give for society. How dare we say that they cannot do it, right? So I think every single person, no matter what they are in terms of color, shape, size, gender, background, does not matter, right? We all have these four values inherently in us. And that's why the whole movement, it starts with me, but it has to end with ours, because we can never live in this world without that relationship, without the interconnectedness. And so I think for us, the RISE values, as we do this every single year, incidentally, the first video that came up was the very first video with which we started 17 years ago. We launched with that video, and that's why very dated, a lot of things in that are very dated information. But we keep having that, because if we have to heal the world, then it's only going to be the value system that we share, because all of us have different values. There is no doubt about it, right? All of us have different values because of our experience, because of our culture, because of our gender, because of our history, our geography. Yes, of course, we have our own value systems. But if we can have the lowest common denominator we learn in maths, we can have the lowest common value system that all of us can agree on, then all of us will be able to do things together, because that's the belief that will bind us together, right? Bond us together, right? And so I think that's the whole value system that we want the world to know about. And that is why year after year, and also it's a part of everything we do in terms of the name and the thing. And that's why, like I say, RISE is not a verb for us. It is a verb after we understand the acronym of RISE. When we understand that, I think the verb will happen, the action will happen automatically. And so thank you so much for releasing these values. Thank you for understanding them, for understanding how they apply to our world. And of course, my wish is, as I said earlier, that 8 billion people should share that value system. So I hope all those on this call and all those who will be hearing us, on the video later on, will also reflect on these values and take them to their lives. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Karan. That was the entire journey from me to us that was depicted through the RISE values. And all our four speakers have done immense justice to it. And I think it sets a fantastic platform for the next 4 days, when we roll out different sessions. Like I told you, we have 50 plus sessions in store for you over the next 4 days, hosted by 75 partners globally with 150 experts, and more people joining in and signing up as we speak. Now, to give you, to get you to understand a little bit about the technical platform on which RISE is going to run this year, may I call upon Yash to give us or maybe Ankush. Ankush will lead us through a technical overview of the platform, so it becomes familiar to all of us on this session.
Hey, so thank you, Naresh. This is the platform which I think, as Karan was saying, we have been stitching together for last few months, firstly on drawing board and then on coding boards. So many of you who have registered on RISE Summit for the program might have seen a similar layout there. So we wanted a similar experience to continue, and that's why we brought it in this risepecoworld.com place as well. A lot of people were asking where we can access the links, how we can join the sessions and all that, and we had been continuously working on it to make it live, and today we could share the information. So when you come on the platform, you definitely can explore the journey of the whole PECO world over last 12 years, and in a summary. And then you can take a persona test. Some of you might have already taken the persona test, but I would request, if your persona test is not right now visible in your dashboard, please do that again, because that is the persona test, as well as your passport is the basis on which the whole experience across Go to Exchange, PECOnet, and PECOcircle would be shaped. So it won't take 2 minutes. If you've already taken, it doesn't take much time. And just go in the summit space, passport space, and see. You can share your cause, what causes you feel. And it's by design that we have asked you to choose just one, so that it reflects the best one, or rather like the most close to your heart. Same for the community you want to, which community you want to kind of, and it's changeable. So later, if you want to change it, you can definitely change that as well. And county, like what level you want to work or what you're interested in. And so you can accordingly decide and connect to people. Summit is the place where you would be experiencing the whole 5 days program. It's very simple. You can go register for any of the events, and then it allows you to go inside and join the event. It has both the options. If you feel that your experience on the platform is not that great, then you can definitely take that to Zoom and open that in Zoom as well. This is Go to Exchange, and it's an interesting space. It's I would say the straightforward commitment. Anybody who is looking for some help, support, or who feels that they can give anything, they can list it down here. Let's say you can offer some coaching, you can offer some resources, you have some hard skill, soft skill, which you can share. Any resources you have you want to share, you can put it here. And you can definitely ask for what you need. Let's say you need a data person for a dashboard you want to work on. You want to figure out something around AI. You want to figure out something around gender. You are working on a proposal where you need someone to guide you on something. So there is a lot of possibilities where short-term commitment projects you can put in. The process is very straightforward. You post an entry, then people would give their signals, what they feel about it, and there would be a mapper in the background who would map it, and then the whole complete exchange, you both would receive a mail that the matching has happened, and both of you can connect them. Then we have PECOnet. PECOnet is like larger causes around which we want to have the communities, and we want to nurture those communities here, like behavior change, communication, nutrition. And this is a space where if you feel the communities are not listed, you definitely can ask to nurture more communities here. And the idea is to bring together partners, entrepreneurs, citizens, all kinds of stakeholders together here in this space. Whatever work they are doing, which is relevant, to share with the community, to share what are the successes, to discuss, to debate, to engage, to do events around those particular issues, workshops, master classes. Everything can be done under PECOnet. So it's going to be a nurturing space, very, very focused on different causes and communities. And then the PECO circle is something which would emerge, can emerge directly also, but we hope that most of the PECO circles would be emerging, or rather would source a lot of experts and partners and change makers from the PECO nets they are part of or working along with. These would be more of like the projects. And right now, we allow people to have their goals, some sort of an action plan, objectives, everything added here. And then we would also nurture a small space where they can come together and work. Uh, Largely, any interactions, we have kept it on the existing channels like WhatsApp, or let's say if there is a bigger community somewhere else and it would be better to kind of continue keeping that community. We would have that possibility to put that link here and nurture those communities there. Um, Ultimately, these are your platform, right? So whatever can work, we would be happy to facilitate that. Definitely, within the restrictions of what is possible technically, we can do. But you are some of the very new users. I would like the first users, pioneers on this platform, and I think your experiences, your journeys would shape how we are shaping this platform also. So we would definitely have uh, more editions on this platform, but I would say this is what the base is, and we would be nurturing it further from here based on your experiences. and your suggestions. So please come join this platform, experience it fully. Wherever you face there is a requirement of doing additions or changing something, we are happy to consider that and work on it. Many of you would be playing important roles of anchors of PECOcircles and hosts of PECOnets and mappers to nurture the go-to exchanges. So we would invite all of you to take up those roles and nurture this community space. Thank you.
Thank you, Ankush. That was really well, navigated, I must say. It's such a complex platform, but yet it's packed with features. And I think if everybody just spends a little time on it, they'll truly get huge value out of it. There's a video which has been made to kind of, explain the whole thing simply. May I ask Yash to kindly play the video now? Thank you. So this was an introduction to the platform, and you'll probably want to know what is in store for you over these 5 days. Like we said, Rise began last week with a curtain raiser, with the musical concerts for Rangini, where we also gave the Tejaswani Women Achievers Awards. That's the beginning, and we had women entrepreneurs put up stalls, and there's a beautiful event in Bandra. That is where actually rose, to actually put it mildly. And today is the opening plenary. But what I'd like to do is very quickly run you through what are some of the sessions in store for you over the next 4 days, and you'll want to come back and check it out. But I would suggest, of course, that after this session, please do go to www.risepecoworld.com. That's Rise, R-I-S-E, PECO, P-E-C-O, world.com, where you get the entire agenda with an explanation of all the sessions. But I would like to run you through each of the days, the next 4 days. Each of the days has been divided into themes. So there's a theme per day, and the sessions on every day are based on the theme. So for example, tomorrow, day 2 is on partnership. And we start with the thematic plenary. Every day will begin with a thematic plenary, where we actually talk about what the day's theme means and what's in store. So the day 1 is partners, stewards of resources. And as part of that, you'll find sessions like beyond financial capital, creating intergenerational wealth based on human, social, physical, and natural capital. That means going beyond simply bottom lines, money, profits, etc. There's also the JICA map, government, industry, civil society, academia, multi-agent PPP model in India. Where are the gaps? You have all these agencies working together or not together, but there are gaps. So where are those gaps? Can we identify those? There's also a special session on complexity thinking for ecosystem builders, designing partnerships that evolve. No partnership that's formed can remain the same through its entire life cycle. So how do you actually start anticipating the future and designing and reforming those partnerships so that they stay relevant? Those are the kind of sessions you'll see tomorrow. Of course, like I said, I'm not even covering all of these sessions. I just want to give you an overview, and I want you to go back to the site and check this out. Now, as we go to day 3, the thematic for that day, again, we're talking about day 3 is about entrepreneurship. The theme is entrepreneurs, builders of solutions and innovation. So that's where you will get an idea in the plenary what exactly is in store. So one of the sessions, for example, is Fashion for All, Global Perspectives on Inclusive and Adaptive Design. And that I think, which Gita Castellino is running for us and which Nino alluded to. So if you're interested in seeing how fashion can actually become inclusive and what's happening across the world, you'll be able to listen to a whole lot of practitioners and experts giving their views and experiences on that. Yeah, coming to that, yeah. And then we have a session on collaborating with the government. That's something which I think all of us want to do, and most people wonder whether that's even possible. But well, there's a session that is going to tell you about how can you collaborate with the government. What is the skill or the skill set that social enterprises don't understand fully? That's promised to be a very interesting session. Those who are interested in agriculture, or those who know people who are interested in agriculture, we actually have a session called the Real Agripreneurs, Farmers and Farmer Collectives-led Enterprises. Now, this is where you really get to an idea as to how farmers at the grassroots level are transforming agriculture and coming up with entrepreneurial solutions that's really looking towards the future. And AI, how can we do anything without AI being a part of it, right? So we have a session called Closing the Loop, how AI is making philanthropy work for CSR, NGOs, and communities together. Now that's happening. Now there is one very, very interesting session that's happening on day 3. And this is something which is for, well, mainly for women entrepreneurs. It's called Horizon. Horizon. From Vision to Venture, which is the Rise Pitch Fest. This is for you women entrepreneurs out there and for those who you know to come. And there's an entry form which is given once you register for Rise PECOWorld PECO Summit. You'll actually get a form for this particular session where any entrepreneur, woman entrepreneur, or whether it's a startup or whether you're scaling up or whether you want to expand, you can fill up a form. And this is a pitch fest where you can pitch your idea. And you may be in store for some amazing mentoring that could come your way and perhaps funding as well. So this is something you should actually attend and share the news about. Yeah, and there are many more. There's ABCD for Enterprises, which is actually Idobro's proprietary framework, which is a building blocks for a strong foundation. How can entrepreneurs use this framework, shifting the focus from what the community lacks to the abundant resources, skills, and strengths it already possesses? So it's going through a very, very abundance mindset. And how do you really build that foundation on that? Okay, and there's also a physical event that's happening on that day. So, like I told you, this is a hybrid summit. In Mankurd, there's a library that will be inaugurated towards the latter part of the day. So if any of you are living in that area would like to visit, the details of that can be found on there. This is all happening on day 3. Now on day 4 of the summit, which is the 4th of June, the thematic plenary, of course, the theme is Citizens, the C of PECO, Citizens, Carriers of Trust. So here we look at even students and young and youth. So we got something called the Beyond Series 3, Beyond Time and Space. How do you strengthen student engagement and alumni communities? That will happen on day 3. Apart from that, very interesting for those who are interested in writing. There's a beautiful session called, it's a masterclass actually, Writing as a Tool for Clarity. And that applies to everybody, whether you are writing fiction or whether you're writing reports, something which all of us in the nonprofit sector know you need to do a lot of. This masterclass actually introduces ink therapy, turning the tangible act of putting pen to paper into a core practice for mental clarity and strategic alignment. How does the act of writing actually give rise to clarity, which in turn furthers your cause? That's something which you could possibly want to attend. There's also a session called the ACES to multiply your impact, end-to-end solutions to build long-term ecosystems. Also, you have a beautiful session going on, a mindful leadership experience, pause, feel, and express. When was the last time you actually simply paused and listened to yourself? Well, this session will tell you how you can take that break, refresh yourself, rejuvenate yourself, and then go right back to what you're doing, changing the world. Well, there's also a lot of focus on the human body on this day. So you have the human body before the burnout. How many of us feel that we are just on the edge out there, right? Something has to give. Well, this session is about offering a holistic systems thinking approach to physical well-being. I think all of us should be attending this, right? Including myself. Anyways, that's a different thing. And finally, we have a roundtable, a very interesting roundtable called Informed Citizenship, Networks for Change. The intersection, the vital intersection of access to information, citizen participation, and systems change. How do you get them all together? That is the session which is going to look at it. And one very, very important session is on women, health, and nutrition. I think it's such a crucial issue for a developed society, for a healthy society. There's no way you can get there without by ignoring women's health. And this session is all about that, about women, health, and nutrition. As we move to day 5, which is, well, technically the final day for the summit on the 5th of June, the theme here, that again with the thematic plenary we'll go deeper into, is ownership, the O of PECO. Ownership, the congruence of conviction, commitment, and contribution. So that's what you're going to have on day 4. Well, technically day 5, if you count today. Again, there you have the Beyond series number 4. It says, beyond me to ours, whose planet is it anyway? The systems ownership mindset. How do you actually move from an individual mindset of my role and my responsibility to a shared mindset of collective ownership and collaboration? I think all of our speakers today alluded to that, and this workshop, roundtable rather, focuses on that. And there's a very interesting session which comes up right after that, which is called Healing the Gut Naturally Through Indian Nutrition and Lifestyle. I think we are all getting health conscious in some way or the other. But is there something, are there some secrets within Indian nutrition and our way of life which we have forgotten, which are let go by the wayside, and which really need to be getting back towards? And that's what we're going to have in that particular session. Now, this is something which I think all of us, especially in Mumbai, are going to resonate with. Managing urban heat using nature-based solutions. You know, we have been sweltering for the last couple of months. It's happening all over India, it's happening all over the world. But are there some solutions based in nature that actually can help us manage urban heat? So it's a focused roundtable and is bringing together experts, planners, researchers, businesses, communities who actually are going to talk to us about nature-based solutions, which you can look at. It'll be amazing. It'll be great if you can invite your architect friends, many urban planners, for example, to come for this session, and maybe they'll go back with some ideas that they can implement in making this place a lot cooler than it actually is. Again, taking the conversation on fashion ahead, we have a session, a workshop rather, a 90-minute workshop on adaptive fashion design and communications. Talking about how adaptive clothing is designed, what are the key elements you have to keep in mind for inclusive fashion, how to communicate about disability and adaptive wear. It's like a follow-up on the earlier fashion session, but it's a very hands-on workshop, a 90-minute workshop that you could possibly attend for that. And there's a very interesting kind of a tourism journey, climate impact and tribal livelihoods, a responsible tourism journey where you could experience the flavors of the Konkan through a hands-on mango modak workshop by our partner organizations, Trikon. So, we're talking about how climate is affecting people and livelihoods, how things are changing in terms of livelihoods because of climate, and how are they adapting to it. And also, of course, you get to at least witness online the delicious mango modak, modaks out there. Hopefully, you'll get a chance to taste it one day, but well, at least you can see them being made this time. And of course, can we forget that 5th of June is World Environment Day? There's a very interesting workshop. It's a hands-on workshop, the Environmental Day Awareness and Nest Making Workshop. It actually is going to teach you how to handcraft and install bird nests. How do you create a space for these fellow inhabitants of this planet? It's a beautiful session which is coming to you. And of course, we end day 5 with a customary plenary and the RISE Awards, where we really recognize special individuals who have undertaken exemplary initiatives for their society and for different constituents. So whose efforts really represent the RISE values: responsible, inclusive, sustainable, and ecosystem friendly. Again, there's a session on managing heat. Well, I think heat is the motif of the month or this year for sure. But so a couple of very interesting knowledge sessions on that. And RISE, though we can say the classroom sessions of RISE, while they may end on the 5th, post summit we have a couple of sessions which happen. Many of them are physical. So you have post summit environment and birds, benefits of microgreens. It's a workshop. where we talk about exploring the delicate relationship between urban development and urban ecosystems. You also have a workshop on make your 5 to 9 work after your 9 to 5. Now you're talking about work-life balance, you're talking about burnout. Well, this could actually give you some insights on how do you actually use your time post a 9 to 5 job, and really become productive without burning yourself out. It's a 2-hour session, but that's again, it's physical. It's at a Bangalore local. But well, those who are in Bangalore can definitely attend that. And there's also a blood donation camp to round up the yoga sessions. So a lot of things happening. So like I said, right, starting from last week when we had the music concerts for Rangini and we had these the Women Achievers Awards, there's everything for something or the other for everybody. But what you really need to do is go to risepecoworld.com and actually explore this and figure out where you want to be. And I know that I want to be in 5 different places at the same time, but well, you need to choose. And Ankur said, it kind of, the system allows you to choose only one focus area or something you're passionate about, but it does give you the possibility, the facility to change that, so that you can keep shifting and it will keep suggesting to you sessions which are good for you, right? So that is what we have for you and for today. And before we actually throw this open for a Q&A session, I would like to really end this session by thanking everybody who's been involved in bringing Rise PECOWorld Summit 2026 to you. Right from the advisory board for the Rise PECO Summit, our steering council, our core committee and subcommittee members, and also the Idobro team, which has been working relentlessly over the last couple of months and will be doing so. I don't think they're going to get any sleep until we actually conclude the summit this year. So thank you, all of you. Thank you for putting this together. Thank you for bringing this platform to all of us. And with this, I declare the summit open. And we throw the floor open for Q&A. Our team is out here, and Karon, of course, is out here to address your questions. I think to have a little bit of system, some order into this, you could put up your questions on the chat, and one of our team members will be happy to address it. Yeah. Thank you so much. And all the very best. Wish you a wonderful Rise Summit.